Good evening. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Sunday, the 9th of March. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay. Despite Trump currently claiming that he's not watching the markets, he actually delayed tariffs again in a move which seem to really be prompted by anything else, but we shall see. It certainly wasn't prompted by any concessions from Canada, and actually he was, rather than let things actually rest over the weekend, he was actually on again on Friday night and again on Saturday, then talking about other tariffs he might put on Canada, talking about milk and lumber and so on. So anyway, ES had one of its worst weeks in quite a while. We saw a rally towards the end. There's a quite nice looking rally setup, although to be honest, if we're going to get a rally going, we might need to have Donald Trump shut up for a couple of days, because every time he's been speaking lately and talking about his enthusiasm for Trump, or talking about tariffs, or talking about further tariffs that he'll put on, well, it's not helping. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. We've got a nice looking rally set up here. I'll talk more about that on the RTH charts, but you can see we've got potential bottoming action here on ES and on NQ, where I've got a nice looking falling wedge, and waiting to see how that develops. And nice looking double bottom on RTY. We've got a decent looking double bottom on YM. DAX and ESTX still pretty close to the highs, actually. So waiting to see if something develops on those, but these have really been not with the US markets at all in recent days and weeks. So we will see how that goes. I think partially, of course, one thing I have noticed is that when the dollar is falling, that the European markets hold up pretty well, possibly because they're becoming... To be honest, I can't really think of a very good reason for that. It's maybe because people expect the dollar to go down more, so they buy European stocks in the expectation that they will appreciate. But I'm not seeing any really good reason for that, but it is something I've noticed before. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, SPX. We we're testing the daily middle, the 200 DMA, very hard last week, and we didn't break it at the end of the week, but obviously a bit of a rally here would be nice. We've got a lot of positive divergence. We've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing here on Dyer. We've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed on the Qs. We've got, hang on, wait a second. We've got another RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and we've got a fourth one brewing on IWM. This could, given half a chance, deliver quite a good rally. Is it possible that Trump might shut up for a couple of weeks? Currently, it appears that would probably be unrealistic, but we'll see. But it's a nice looking setup. We'll see if it delivers. If it doesn't, well, we've made the first double top target and the smaller one here, but we've broken down, of course, from the larger double top here, and that one too is very, very nice. It's really not bad. Not so good on ES, where the second high was lower, but on SPX, it was most definitely higher. And this is a nice looking double top, and that's got a target in the 5360 to 5440 area, and we could go straight there, but markets don't tend to go down in a straight line. Every so often you get a rally. We've got a nice inflection point here. We could see that here, but obviously wasn't hugely encouraging to see Trump delivering a lot more threats over the weekend. That wasn't really going to help matters, particularly in terms of a market rally. Right, in terms of, I'm actually starting to think about looking at the relation between the 45 DMA and where the market is at the moment. But I have noticed in the past that when we've seen stiff declines, that sometimes it just totally goes away. Not so obvious on this chart, but in previous declines. So I'm not sure it's so meaningful to talk about the distance below. All right, you notice, yeah, well, we will see. All right, let's have a look at the weekly chart. Okay, on the weekly chart, we saw a move down below the weekly lower band, and we also tagged a very important area, and that is the 50-week moving average. and I've got that at 5648. We almost made it, but not quite. But this is another fairly important level. Is it a level which tends to hold exactly? Sometimes. There's a couple of examples of testing are on the upside. Far from always, but when we do see a breakdown below it, sometimes that doesn't last long. But we've got a break below here which didn't last, break below here that didn't last. But if you do see a break that does last, then actually that can run quite a way. It's we will see how that goes, but I'm quite liking the downside here, but I would like to see a rally first. All right, looking at NDX. NDX also was testing the 50-week moving average and is holding it so far. In terms of the Qs, we're below the 200 DMA, although we did manage to close, well, no, we just closed about basically on it. It's not really convincingly broken yet. What I'm interested in, though, is if we do get down towards this support trend line here in the 475 area, that could be significant. But at the moment, we're testing the annual pivot at 480.84. Not something that happens every year. All right, on the Dow chart, we have broken the rising support trend line, which is great, and that's potentially opening up the lower rising support trend line, which I've got in the 37,300 area at the moment. Looking at Dia, we are getting close to double top support. I've got that at 417.72, I think. And the annual pivot at 413.62. If we see a sustained break below both, then we would have targets in the 385 area. I'm liking all of these on the bigger picture, and I think it's going to take. I think tariffs are not likely to work out too well. I think it'll take a while before that people get really angry about them, and that actually starts feeding through into the polls. It hasn't happened yet. I was looking at the approval ratings for Trump from 4 days ago, and they weren't really a great deal changed from a couple of weeks earlier. But start seeing higher inflation and so on, and that may change. On the hourly charts, we've still got a series of hourly buy signals fixed, and this could be a way of making target on those. Certainly, we've got a nice looking double bottom on Dia. We've got a nice looking one on IWM as well. And these could deliver. But as I said, ideally, Trump would get severe laryngitis for a couple of days or something, and that would help considerably. In terms of the daily charts on IWM, obviously we have long lost all the main support. 200 DMA is up here at 217.82. We've been moving down at a rapid rate, and this entered a downtrend considerably before. Now, this could still be an overall bull flag forming. Not holding up too much hope for that, but we will see. All right, DAX. DAX, we've got a bit of a retracement from the high, but really we're very close to the all-time highs. Well, 2 days, I think. So this has been very, very, very strong. Nikkei has been pretty weak. But is trying to bottom out here possibly. I've got a possible RSI 5 bicycle brewing. For some reason I haven't marked that in, sorry. I'll just actually write that in now. Okay, let's not do that. I will come back to it, and hopefully I've updated that by Wednesday. All right, so that's where we are on equities. I would like to see a rally here. I was writing a post about it on Friday, and I think it has a shot, subject to news, of which ideally there would be less while we were rallying. Because we've had a lot of news and none of it is particularly encouraging for any end to this move. All right, CL. We saw a nice move down here. I've got a support trend line here, but it's not the main one I'm watching. I'll come to that in the RTH chart. On NG, we've seen a bit higher here, and I'm not seeing any obvious reason to think it's about to turn. Let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. And on CL, no current positive divergence. On WTech, I am looking at this as a falling wedge, and I've got the falling wedge support basically at the retest of the low at 63.57, which I've been talking about for a while. I like this. I've got a lovely, decent looking resistance trend line, and we will see how that goes. I like this setup, and it is very much what it looks like at the moment, but we will see. If we see a break up over back over 70, I would be starting to wonder about this, but at the moment we've not been seeing a lot in the way of upside, and we have not got any positive divergence on the daily chart. So this is a bigger picture view of that. looks nice, delivers that low retest. That could be the second low of a double bottom. Obviously, if we are going to see US go into recession over the next few months, then obviously it could go lower, but it would be a very nice looking setup for a double bottom if that could be delivered. No current divergence on the weekly chart. We are testing the weekly lower band. That's not of any great significance, but obviously we've been in a downtrend long enough that the 50, 200, and 100 MAs are all in a ribbon above price. And we need to get up to 75 for that to start to change. And that would also apply to the weekly middle band, which I've also got at 75. So no mystery about where main resistance is. Looking at natural gas, the trend lines are just experimental to see if anything hits. The main thing we're looking at here is the double bottom that has broken up with a target in the 575 to 625 area, and at the moment I'm not seeing anything compelling saying that isn't going to make a target. We did have a daily RSI 5 sell signal fix that went down a bit, but it never seriously threatened the weekly middle band and then went straight up and made higher highs. I'm quite liking this. This is what I was talking about in my post, and a bigger picture post in the near the end of last year, and I still like it. It's a nice move to the 50% retracement of this move down from 1004 to the 150 area, so we will see. All right, monthly chart. Not a lot to say on this, really. We've lost the negative divergence on the monthly RSI 5. We will see. But I'm liking the upside here. I would say that it might take a little longer because we're a bit stretched on the Bollinger Bands, but NG is the commodity which is closest to crypto in the size of the moves you can see. And you can see this wild move up from 1.25 to 10, and then down from 10 to 1.54. These are big moves. Certainly nobody talks about a bear market, having entered a bear market when natural gas drops 20%. All right, let's have a look at GC. I've got this as a flag which is trying to break up. We've seen the dollar tanking. I'm surprised we haven't seen more upside so far on the gold chart. I'm really expecting to see a retest of this high in the not too distant future. That said, I would say on the RTH chart, we do have a daily RSI 14 sell signal that's fixed. We had an RSI 512, and that made target on this move down. All right, SI. This looks like a flag which has broken up. Again, quite liking a retest of this high on there too. On HG, we've got a little double top. We've got a 6-week, 60-minute sell signal that's reached a possible near miss target. We've got a little double top that's broken down with a target in about the 4.63 area. And I'm thinking it may well make that, but at the moment, at the end of the week, it was finding support at what is now the weekly pivot. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. GC. Okay, on the GC chart, we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, exactly the same on this chart here. Where are we looking at in terms of possible trend lines? Well, we're pretty close to 1, which I've been wondering whether it would reach for a while. And I've got that in the 3025 to 3050 area. Obviously, the 3000 area is a big psychological level, and we've been seeing a pullback from there so far. But actually, I think that looks doable, and I think we might be going there next. At the moment, it's struggling to get back over the daily middle band, and it obviously needs to manage that. But with the dollar going down, this is a good time to see that. We do have a weekly RSI 14 sell signal brewing. I'm not taking that particularly seriously, but I'm keeping an eye on it. So, silver. I've got this nice looking rising wedge here, which might limit upside. I'm thinking we'll probably retest this high at 3507, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But this could evolve into a larger pattern with an alternate resistance trend line. It's just that this is a nice three-touch trend line, which is one reason I've marked it in thick blue, and I'm taking it more seriously. That could be significant resistance as and when it's retested, which I'm expecting to see soon. We had an RSI 5 buy signal. That's now made target. Looking at palladium. By the way, you might be noticing while I'm switching over. You might have noticed that I'm switching over to quite a lot of the continuous charts for the futures, and the reason for that is not actually that I think the continuous charts are better, although it does allow me to project it further back. It's because stock charts has stopped covering a lot of these. And I've actually lost 6, I think, that I cover, and I've switched those over to continuous in the last month. So I think they might be stopping covering most of the futures. They've been dropping them every so often for years, but there's been a heavy attrition in the last couple of months, so I might be switching over to the continuous charts for all of them. Platinum has survived so far. Don't know if it's going to make the cut on the next one, but here, looking at palladium, do we have a potential double bottom here? I don't know. I have to say, looking at this, I'm kind of leaning towards seeing a retest of this low here at 1350. We will see. On the daily chart, again, we're not seeing a lot of sign of life on platinum either. We're below the daily middle band. I'm wondering whether it might go lower. I'm not seeing an awful lot that's encouraging. I'm not seeing any positive divergence here. Looking at HG, no current divergence, but I've been looking for a retest of this high here at 4.885. We haven't quite managed that yet. I'm leaning towards seeing that. This could be a double top, but I don't think it is. That said, I'm concerned longer term about a severe economic contraction in China, which is wildly in debt after having been extremely immoderate in its in all of its spending to try and boost growth over the last few years. It's quantitative easing can be an issue. But at the moment, I'm reading the numbers like China is actually has debt between the national and provincial governments of something like 350% of GDP. That is bankruptcy territory. In fact, it's well into bankruptcy territory. I am wondering if we might see that, and I'm also wondering whether to distract people from the problems at home, whether China will actually invade someone within the next few months to a year, and there are signs that the army is preparing for that. So we'll see. Looking at GDX, still liking the upside. We made the initial double bottom target. We've got the extended target up at a retest of 43.71, and I'm thinking this is a good time to make that. The sell signal made target, and we're back at the upper level on the RSI 5, so I'm liking the upside. We've still got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed. On GDXJ, we're seeing pretty much the same. And again, I'm wondering about a retest of this high here at 54.18. No negative divergence on the hourly chart on GDX, but we do have some on GDXJ. All right, let's have a look at, skip currencies because really all the action's on DX at the moment, really. Oh, right, hang on. Let's have a look at ZB and DX. Okay, ZB. I've got a nice looking megaphone here. Now, I've been talking about this as a possible, this is a possible head and shoulders here, and this is also a possible rising megaphone that could be a bear flag on the bigger picture. I have been saying I'm expecting to see lower prices. We've been seeing a rally here, and people have been talking about, this is Trump getting in, etc. I think this has just been a technical rally, and that we are likely to continue down. I don't think it's got anything to do with who's sitting in the Oval Office. Although, I would say that in terms of it going down, the prospect of inflation going up would be bearish for ZB, although the prospect of seeing some recession would be bullish for ZB. So mixed signals on that too. DX, we have seen a lot of further downside here. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. I'm wondering about a rally here. Having said that, I was wondering about a rally here. A rally arrives when it arrives. I do have targets on the downside, though. I've been having a good look at the US dollar chart, and I've got some targets for where that's likely to be going. Okay, looking at the bigger picture. This is an interesting chart, and this is the USD daily chart. We had a nice looking bull flag, and I really thought this was going to go back and retest the high, but it didn't. And it went down, and actually, I think what we've got here is you can draw the trend line a couple of ways, but I'll just show you the other way it could be drawn, because this is the flag I thought had broken up. And we rallied a bit, and then we went down. So I put the trend line back there, and then we broke down. Now, if this was a flag that was breaking down, in the opposite of where you're expecting it to go, this would have a target in the 101.75 area. If this was a head and shoulders, and that was the right shoulder being made, then it would also have a target in the 1.75 area. I'm liking the 1.75 area. We've got two pattern targets there. They're both valid. They're both nice. And as part of the bigger picture, I'm still looking at this. When we started running from here, good lord, is it that long ago? No, I think we were running from here. I was thinking when we got up beyond 106.52, I drew in this trend line here. We went slightly beyond it, but I think this is basically a very big. It's an oversized. This would be an oversized bull flag. Sorry, bear flag, and we would get down to that target here. Then we would go down to the support, which I've got in the 100.5 area, and then we break down. We go and retest this low here at I think 99.58. That is part of the bigger picture, and this is something I've been talking about. Hang on, this is something I've talked about on the bigger picture before. What would the pattern be? Now, what I said was, if we went back to retest 114.78, then that would be a nice looking double top, and that could set up a move, sustained break below 99.58, with CS looking for a target basically in the 84.5 area. Now, that would have been a very nice looking double top target. But what I said was, if we fell directly from 110.18, then the obvious lean would be to see this as a bull flag forming A, B. I've drawn in a possible C there, which would actually be a match with the rising support on the megaphone. We never saw a break over this megaphone resistance. It was just established and then it fell immediately. I'm thinking that we could just be this could all just be us going down to test megaphone support currently in the 96 area and then just heading up again, and if this is a bull flag, obviously that's kind of what bull flags do. So we'll see how that goes, but I like the setup. It's nice. And so I'm thinking we might go down to 96 and then get a reversal to take us back up to 115. That would certainly make the next year more interesting. All right, looking at TNX. TNX, I'm still expecting to see a retest of this high here at 49.97. And on the weekly chart, no current divergence there really. Nothing on the monthly, except for an RSI 14 cell signal fix, which will possibly play out at some point in the distant future. But really, on the daily chart, we've got a lovely looking bull flag here, which has broken up. We've been seeing a pullback, basically a 50% retrace, and I'm expecting this to break up and go and get this target here at 49.97. We've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fix. It's not a huge signal or anything, but I think it's enough to get us going. Needs to get back over the daily middle band at 43.93, and then I think this goes back up to retest this high here at 48.09, and then we take the cheese and go and get 49.97. I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening, well, from now. So I think we might still need a little more time bottoming out on this, what basically is a bull flag. It's not a great bull flag, but it's not an awful one either. Could this be an IHS here? Really, I don't think so. So we don't really have a solid reversal pattern here yet, and it's possible we'll see a retest of the low. But I'm looking to move back up into this declining resistance in the 45.3 area, and then after that, I think we break up. We will see. I think, but one way or another, I think this is a flag forming. Could it be anything else? Yes, it could. This could be a head and shoulders forming. This would be the left shoulder. This would be the head. This would be the right shoulder. Ideally, we would get up into about the 45 area, which is where declining resistance is. So if we see a really hard fail from there and come back to 41.06, I will be wondering about that as a possible head and shoulders, but it's too early to be concerned about it really at the moment. And that bull flag target, I would normally expect to be made. All right, let's have a look at the euro, just on a tear here. So we've got a bit of negative divergence. We've had it for a while. Not a lot else to see really on the currencies. Let's go straight on to KC. Now, KC, we've been seeing a bit of retracement here. I am wondering if this could be a bull flag. This wasn't really right for a bull flag. It would have been if it had come directly from the high, but it didn't. But I am wondering if we've got A, B, C. Maybe go down to 355, 350. I think we might see that. We will see. We've got a tiny bit of more positive divergence here, but I didn't mark it in. On sugar, we've got a nice looking double bottom here. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. I think this might deliver. And if it heads off to target, this would take us up into about the 19 to 1915 area. So this could get us back up into a retest the high. Bigger picture though, I'm still leaning towards this heading down further. On CC, or at least I think I am. I'll just check that on the daily chart when we get there. Okay, CC, possible bottoming action here, short term. Bigger picture, I'm wondering about downside here too. Looking at CT, we had a lovely looking double bottom set up, positive divergence, nice looking bicycle on the daily chart, and we lost all of it. We went down too far for the double bottom setup, and the bicycle was invalidated. Of course, we do sometimes see strong rallies after that, but what we're not going to see is double bottom break up, and we don't have any real support. We will see. We could still be looking at bottoming action here, though, and we will see how that goes. On wheat, we've gone back, retested the low. We got a possible second low of a double bottom, and it's bouncing nicely so far. On corn, I'm mildly concerned this might be a bear flag forming. But it could be that we're just breaking up from this IHS with a target in the 480 area. On soy, we've got a on soy, we've broken up from what wasn't really a double bottom, but if we made the target, it would have made anyway. We're trying to hold the weekly pivot at 107.50. We've got no negative divergence here at the moment, but it's fairly formless, so I don't really have a strong opinion on this, apart from to think that the grains may all be making a low which could last for a couple of months. On lumber, we have seen this going higher, but I've got a lot more to say about this on the daily chart. Live cattle, we've broken up from what wasn't an inverted head and shoulders, so I don't really have a target for it, but I am wondering if this is going to go back up and retest this high. On lean hogs, nice rally as well. Here I've got an IHS target in the 90 area, and I think it has a good chance of making it. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Now, you'll notice coffee, sugar, cocoa have all been switched over to the continuous chart, and cotton in the last couple of weeks. And the reason is that all of those stopped being covered by stock charts. Lumber and ZB were done a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago, I think, and they stopped covering those. It's kind of annoying, but hey, we work with what we got. And it does allow me to have a look, have a longer term look at these. On the daily chart on coffee, you can see how very stretched we are and how very far we have come. I am wondering about a top forming here. I'd love to see another high retest, but I'm wondering if we might break this support and go lower. But for what it's worth, that support is currently in the 3.78 area, and it may be a target and it may hold. On sugar, I'm still leaning towards seeing a full retest of this low here at 17.52. We haven't quite made that yet, and it will be a much better looking double bottom if we get it. This would be basically, sometimes you see bottoms form like this. You get up the bottom, it breaks up, makes target, and then comes back and retests it again. Then you've got a larger double bottom, and that breaks up and makes target. So this could well be a bottoming setup. On cocoa, we've got a possible RSI 14 buy signal brewing, or a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. Bigger picture, this isn't a bull flag, but that's a lot of positive divergence. It could deliver. On wheat, we've got a very nice looking double bottom here, and we will see no current positive divergence. And by retesting the low, we could set up some very nice positive divergence on the daily RSI 5. On corn, again, exactly the same on the RSI 5, and I'm wondering about a retest this low. We will see. On soy, not the same, because we got over the 50 level, which is the level at which I start ignoring. Only a little bit over, but nonetheless, if it gets more than halfway back to the 70 level, then I ignore it. But from between 30 and 70, so basically 51 is too much. So we're not going to get any positive divergence on that. We could still see a retest of the low to set up a double bottom. On cotton, obviously we went significantly lower. No current positive divergence. I'm going to be looking at this. I'm going to see if I can get a weekly chart up for next week. I'm going to start doing those on all of these commodities, which is going to be easier on the continuous charts, obviously, because these will all be on the continuous charts. And I'm going to get a better view on this bigger picture. We will see. All right, lumber. Lumber, I am wondering if we might be making a high here. We had a very, very nice resistance trend line here. This could be a bearish overthrow. Watching that with interest. We've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and actually if we see a retest of the high here, we could get a weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing as well. Wondering whether we might be making a high. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. I will catch you guys again on Wednesday. All right, take care.